Hello, everyone. It's time for Vanished Chicagoland Stories, the podcast. I'm your host, Pete Costanis. This is episode 346, season 14. Today's date is July 14th, 2024, and welcome to the show. It's been a week since I've done one. No, I did one last Tuesday. Forgive me. I'm sorry. I lost track of time. On today's program, I'm going to talk about the 45th anniversary of the Disco Demolition event that was held at Comiskey Park in Chicago. What an unforgettable day for a lot of people. And also, I'll talk about the recent deaths of celebrities this week. We got a lot of them, and I will go. We just had another one today. Actress Sharon Doherty. She passed away at the age of 53, of cancer. That damn cancer. So, and there are others. So I will go down the list. There are about 5, approximately. So, kind of a somber show in a way. Before I get started, the show will go into a commercial break. And this program is brought to you by Signal Mouthwash that features Dr. Ruth Westheimer, who just passed away the other day. And most of the time I don't understand her. But she's so cute. That's why. And so here's a commercial from 1987. And when I come back, I'll talk about the commercial and, of course, her, and the rest of the people that have recently passed on. Okay, so sit back and relax, and I'll be right back with the show, folks. Thank you.
Mornings are a wonderful time to experiment. Tomorrow, try this with your partner. Signal.
Signal cleans better than both leading mouthwashes.
So have fun, but keep it clean. Signal for a cleaner mouth.
Okay, everyone, I'm back. I hope you enjoyed the commercial for Signal mouthwash. This product has been introduced in the late 70s, during the 80s, in competing with Listerine, Scope. They had Listerment, too, all kinds of mouthwashes. Lavoris. We found a bottle in the bathroom one time like that. Anyway. So that was Dr. Ruth Westheimer, and she passed away this not too long ago. And, she was an 80s icon. And so that's one of the deaths that happened this week. So, and then there are others. So at the beginning of the program, I mentioned I'm going to talk about the 45th anniversary of the Disco Demolition event that happened in Comiskey Park in Chicago. Also, I'll talk about Dr. Ruth Westheimer and other people that passed away this week. Before I get started, I want to mention a few things. When I posted about the 45th anniversary of Disco Demolition, it went bonkers. People saying they loved it, they hated it. It shouldn't have happened, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I get it, So I will go into further later on in the program and discuss that and my memories of that, which I did not attend there. I'll explain why. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to start with the recent deaths of the celebrities this week, and then I'll save for the Disco Demolition towards the end of the program. Dr. Ruth Westheimer. She passed away on July 12th, about 2 days ago. Her real name was Carola Ruth Westheimer, and her maiden name was Siegel, and she was born on June 4th, 1928. And she was a sex therapist, She was born in Germany to a Jewish family, and then, when the Nazis came to power, and then her parents sent her when she was 10 years old to a school in Switzerland just for her safety. And both her parents were killed in concentration camps, which is terrible like that. So, Then she went to college, she moved to Paris and she studied psychology at the Sorbonne, very famous school like that. And then she came to America and she got a doctorate degree at the age of 42 at the Teachers College at Columbia University in, I believe, in New York. So that's good. So in her media career started in 1980. It was a radio show that, you call in and you ask questions and she'll answer your questions. It was called Sexual Speaking. And that continued for 10 years. And that was a big hit. And then she launched a TV show called The Dr. Ruth Show, of course, And she became a household name. What really put her over the pedestal of fame was I used to watch her on David Letterman late at night, at 11:30. When I was at DeVry Institute of Technology, I went to school there from 1983 to 1986, and then she always David Letterman always invited her, maybe, I don't know, 2 or 3 times a year, and she would get on, and she would, David Letterman found her very charming, very informative. I found her hilarious, and, but she was not embarrassed, to say anything. And she kept it clean and, how would I say this? Not proper, but she was, but she was candid, and always had a good attitude towards people like that, which is great. That's wonderful. And she appeared in, of course, a lot of commercials. She was an author of about 45 books. She's a busy lady. She really was. And she lived a long life. She really did. But she was so short. It was funny like that. And of course, people made fun of her. Got Saturday Night Live. And also, she didn't only appear on David Letterman. She also appeared with Johnny Carson, Joan Rivers Show. Remember that? Arsenio Hall. Of course, Live with Regis and Kathy Lee. That. And she continued to appear on TV like that. And then she slowed down a bit. And she died on July 12th at the age of 96. So God bless her. Okay. Next up, I will talk about Richard Simmons. And then I'll get to Shelley Duvall in a second. So Richard Simmons died on the same day as Dr. Ruth on July 12th. And he was a fitness personality. So when you saw him on TV, he was always exercising. He did classes, and he would just, he would just teach people, or like that, be a coach like that, which is great, He was born Milton Teagle Simmons, not Richard, in New Orleans on July 12th, 1948, But he died in July 13th, so he died yesterday. I'm sorry, forgive me. One of the best aerobic videos was Sweating to the Oldies, which I like. That was interesting. That helps because that motivates you, that moves you like that. So he started his career in Beverly Hills in California, by opening a gym, and he catered to the overweight because he was overweight himself. He was obese when he was a child, and he was ridiculed. And I can understand that, when you're different, you get bullied, and so, But he was so enthusiastic. So exuberant like that. And of course he appeared on David Letterman and also Johnny Carson and all that. He probably performed or, probably showcased or demonstrated all his exercises and all that. So he was, so that's great. Like that. He never married. And so he got interested in, when he moved to Los Angeles, like in the 70s, he was working at a maitre d' at a hotel and at a restaurant, and then he got into fitness and he lost the weight and all that. And, I think he kept it off for a long time. So, and, it's amazing because he lost about 100 pounds, which is amazing. But, that is tough. That is tough. Even for my age, when you're 60, that is hard, to do that because you'll fall back and then you'll get back on again. And it's crazy like that. And a lot of people made fun of him, the way he talked, the way he looked. I think he was fine like that. He was in a lot of game shows also. Also did some acting as well, and so that's a shame. I liked the guy. I really did. Okay. Next up was actress Shelley Duvall. She died on July 7th. No, July 11th, excuse me. This is when she was born. They all died in July. They were born in July and died in July. Oh, that's terrible. Yeah, she died on July 11th, 2024. Her real name was Shelley Alexis Duvall, and she's famous for, of course, her roles in Annie Hall and, of course, The Shining and Popeye. And she was born in Fort Worth, Texas. Because I remember her in Annie Hall. That's the movie with Woody Allen and Diane Keaton, which was a good movie. I liked that. And also, when she appeared on The Shining, I saw it once, and that disturbed me a lot. I was like, oh, it's like, I don't want to see it again. With Jack Nicholson, which he put on a wonderful performance. He was scary as hell. So she played the. I heard she was traumatized by this role. Probably from the director. It could be true. I'm not sure. And but she played the role phenomenally. She was great like that. She appeared in other roles, but not as famous. Of course, later on, she got into producing television programming, aimed at kids. Like, remember Fairy Tale Theater? That ran about 5 years, and she was great in that. She was wonderful like that. Then all of a sudden she disappeared, and then she had a mental breakdown and all that. So that's a shame. But in Popeye, she played Olive Oil. I've seen Popeye once. A lot of people didn't like it. It didn't do very well at the box office, but I liked the movie, and it was a musical. You have Robin Williams as Popeye, but she was great as Olive Oil. If you rewatch it, you'll understand. That's a great movie. It really is. It really is. It's developed a cult like that. So that's good. So she passed away on July 11th, 2024. She was the age of 75. Yeah, that's a shame. Okay. Other deaths I want to mention, of course, someone mentioned this to me this morning. There was Benji Gregory. He was an actor on the TV sitcom Alf. Remember Alf? He played Brian Tanner, and that show ran from 1986 to 1990. I loved the show when it aired, because Alf was hilarious. Because he loved cats. He liked Lucky. That was a cat. My favorite scene in the show was he was going to make a bacon Lucky tomato sandwich with the cat. But he was a cute kid. He played So he played Brian Tanner. His real name was Benjamin Gregory Hertzberg. He was born May 26, 1978 in L.A. And he appeared in other shows, of course, Murphy Brown, Fantasy Island, The A-Team, T.J. Hooker, Amazing Stories. That Steven Spielberg directed. Punky Brewster played that, and after he graduated from school, he enlisted in the U.S. Navy, and then when he got married in 2006, after he completed his naval service, and then he just disappeared. And on June 13th, Gregory was found in his car dead with a service dog in a parking lot in Peoria, Arizona. And he was 46 years old. Oh, that was sad. And he was suffering from bipolar. And he died. He fell asleep in his car, and it was hot outside. You know how heat is over there in Arizona. It's horrible. It's horrible. So he dozed off. And then likely he died of heat stroke. Oh, that's a shame. Folks, you got to be careful of this heat because, today, this weekend in Chicago, it was hot, but it cooled off yesterday. It's going to be hot again today and tomorrow. So just be careful, So that's a shame like that. So, my condolences to the family. Okay. And another death we have Joe Bonsall. He was the tenor vocalist of the Oak Ridge Boys, and they were a quartet. They sang country and vocal like that. And he was born May 18th, 1948. And what I remember him, one of their famous songs of that group was Elvira. And that's a great song, Elvira. Do, 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 Elvira. I love that song. I'm not a country music fan, but that one is good. I like that. Unfortunately, he had ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease. That's terrible. And he was sort of still on tour in a way, and then he passed away on July 9th, 2024, which is a shame. They were a great group, very great group. So, and he was a great singer. He sang beautifully. Okay. And the last death I want to talk about, which just happened today. Actually yesterday, is Shannon Doherty. I just found out this morning before I get started with the podcast, and she passed away at the age of 53, and she was suffering from cancer for many years. And we all know her from her roles as in Little House on the Prairie, Heathers, remember that movie, and Our House. I think that was her. No, that's not her first TV. Little House on the Prairie was her first one. That was towards the end of the run. And then Our House, that starred Deirdre Hall from Days of Our Lives, And, of course, Beverly Hills 90210. She is famous for that role. Yeah, she was. And, of course, Charmed. But she didn't stay that long. And she was born on April 12th, 1971 in Memphis, Tennessee. And she did some guest spots on TVs like Voyagers, Father Murphy. Then she got the role on Little House of Prairie as Jenny Wilder. And then she was in a movie called Girls Just Want to Have Fun, based on the song by Cyndi Lauper. That starred Helen Hunt and Sarah Jessica Parker. I remember that. And then, of course, she starred in Heathers. I never seen Heathers. I'm going to see that movie. I heard it's very interesting like that. Then she was cast in 1990 on Beverly Hills 90210. That premiered on October 4th, 1990, on my birthday. And she played Brenda Walsh. And she was a twin to Brandon Walsh, played by Jason Priestley, and at first it wasn't really a hit, not really, but then they did something unusual. they ran new episodes over the summer, which usually in the summer you have reruns, but they had new episodes and they're caught on. It struck gold, became a huge hit, and she was on, magazines. She did talk shows, interviews like that. So did the rest of the cast, Of course, there was behind the scenes a turmoil, and that was crazy like that. And so she left in 1994. I remembered that. She just left. And, to me, the show wasn't really the same with her. And then Tiffany Amber Smith took over. She played Valerie Malone. She was on Saved by the Bell, and she played a wicked woman. Like that. She was great. I liked her in that. But, she was not. I don't think Brenda Walsh was bad. Not really. Kind of like that. Well, I don't know. I don't think so. But she was fine, like that. And then she seemed very nice, And then, she fought with cast members and all that. But I think they all reconciled. Everything's fine and like that. And then she was diagnosed with breast cancer. And that was terrible, and she survived so long. Yeah, she really did. And that's awful. That's awful. That disease was terrible. Because I've been through it myself with the prostate cancer. So luckily I'm still here. So, folks, just be careful. Just watch it. Just go to your doctor. So that's a shame. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to take a break. And next up, I'm going to talk about the 45th anniversary of the Disco Demolition event that happened at Comiskey Park in Chicago. Oh, that's a doozy. So just sit back and relax, and I'll be right back with the show, folks. Thank you. Okay, everyone, I am back. Now we're going to talk about the 45th anniversary of Disco Demolition. What can I say about this thing? It's still unbelievable, unforgettable. It's so divided with this opinions of this thing, and I can understand that. So let me tell you something. When this had happened, I was not in Chicago. I had no idea what was going on. In the summer of 1979, my mom decided we wanted to go to Greece for a vacation, summer vacation. Okay. To tell you the truth, I didn't want to go. I didn't want to go. I want to stay here with my friends and all that. And I discussed this before on my blog. I explained the whole thing. And I was very, very reluctant to go. My brothers were happy. I have two brothers, and my father didn't come because he had to work. So we hop on a plane, and I was like, real grouch. I didn't want to go. And, I warmed up to the idea, and I liked it, as time went on. And so we stayed for about a month and a half, close to 2 months. So when this happened on July 12th, 1979, it was just an ordinary day over there. I don't know where I was exactly in Greece, probably at my grandma's house or someone else's house. I don't know. My brother told me he received a letter from his friend back in Chicago that this was going on. This is Disco Demolition. I didn't give a second thought. I go, well, what is it? He goes, it's like they had some event and there were some kids and they went there and they brought record albums and they were blown up. I go, why? That's what I asked him. I didn't give it a second thought. I just moved on. Anyway, so when I came back, We all came back mid-August. We went back home, and then we saw the kids from the neighborhood. They were happy to see us, and they told us about this. And I go, "Wow, is that what happened?" And I found out some kids in my class at Bogan High School went there. That's when I went back to school, for the fall. And they said they had a great time. It was crazy. It was just insane, and they had a blast. Okay, so so we all, my family and I, missed all this media craziness that happened. So, and that stayed on till like a long time, probably till like the end of the year, So I sort of missed it in a way. If I was invited, would I go? I don't know. Maybe. You think my parents would let me? No, I wouldn't tell them. I would sneak off because I would just tell them I'm going to a baseball game, even though I don't watch baseball. But I would say, "Hey, Mom, I'm going to the baseball game." Little she would know it was a baseball game and had that going on. Anyway, so let me tell you about the beginnings of this event and how it just played out. Okay, so that was a promotion that was held at Comiskey Park in Chicago. It was on Thursday, July 12th, 1979. And the game was between the White Sox and the Detroit Tigers. It was a doubleheader. And there was like, they tried to fill seats there at the stadium. And of course, it was the station that promoted was The Loop, 97.9 FM, where Steve Dahl was working there. He got fired from WDAI previously. And I don't know if he had a grudge or not, because they switched formats, music formats from rock to disco. Maybe that was, I don't know. Anyway, so in the second game, he came on, and I don't know what was going on. He was there with Lorelei. Remember Lorelei from the commercials? And so they said that you had to bring a record. I think the admission was like 98 cents if you brought a disco record, and you could blow it up like that. A lot of people did. Okay, understandable. So they brought, like, for example, Saturday Night Fever, the Bee Gees, Barry Manilow, Donna Summer, all these disco artists like that. And then Steve Dahl had a mock organization called the Insane Coho Lips. And of course, Gary Meyer was with them. They were together like then. They were a great team. And they had a similar thing in discotheque in Linwood, Illinois. Something similar like that, but not crazy like at the Comiskey Park. And it was just insane like that. And they got crazy. And then most of the kids sneaked into the park. I don't know how they did that. So you had part of it was with Mike Vick. He was a promoter for that. He was Bill Vick's son, I believe. And Bill Vick, that is. I'm sorry. Anyway, so they organized it, and so everything went fine until the until the second game. Did this, they took a break, for the doubleheader, and then they brought these this big box or like that with all these LPs and these 40 fans, and they start blowing them up. And then it just went the crowd went crazy and all that. And then all of a sudden hell broke loose. And then all the kids ran to the stadium, ran on the field. And they started tearing them up. There were fights, and they were drinking, they were, smoking pot, and like that. It just went crazy. And I remember they showed the baseball announcers, like, for example, Jimmy Pearsall. He was there. Was Harry Carey there? I think he was, maybe. So they did that. I'm just saying this because I wasn't there, so I don't know what really happened. And it was like a lot of people said that it was wonderful. They said it was phenomenal. A night they will never forget. And other people call it other things, So do you ask yourself, or do you ask me, should it happen that way? No, but it got out of control. I mean, you can, just how you, the police came in, the security guards, they tried to disperse the crowds. They tried to get them under control. Eventually they left, and it was a huge mess like that, and, they tried to blame Steve Dahl for this. He's responsible for causing this riot and all of that. I don't know. I can't say this. I can't say. So, because he held a grudge because he got fired. I can understand that. We all do when we lose our jobs. I did from time to time, but I just moved on. So anyway, it was unbelievable. It really was. And a lot of people have not forgotten it. So there's a lot of collectibles, like if you had a ticket to the games, that's great. Or Loop t-shirts, or your Disco Sucks shirt. A lot of kids wore that, and some kids still have kept it. Excuse me, and they did that over the years. Some people to this day don't like disco at all. Some people do. To be honest, I do like it. I hate to admit it. I don't want to admit it in front of anti-disco people. I'll just listen at home. Like that. I don't know what started all that, all this hate like that. Because, rock and roll is great too, like that. They made documentaries. They wrote books on this. Steve Dahl was interviewed all throughout the years, and he talked about it, And, what can I say? It was a very infamous day in Chicago history. Oh, it was bad, and it's a shame. I missed all the hoopla, all this anticipation. I can't say that word. That was going to happen. It's a shame I missed it. So that was like I said, it was a unique day in Chicago. Thankfully, nobody got killed. Thank God. But there were injuries, so I hope they recovered. I'm sure they did. After that, they have to forfeit the game. That was canceled. So, I guess maybe the baseball players weren't happy about that, or the umpires, or like that. Some were embarrassed. I can understand that. Okay, so that's that, and people are still talking about this on Facebook, on my page and my group. Some were for it, some were against it, some just ranted about it, some praised it. You named it. It was like unbelievable. Well, what are you going to do? Okay. So that's it for this show. I'll do a recap of what I talked about. I talked about the recent deaths of these celebrities this past week. I'll go down the list really quickly. It was actress Shelley Duvall, Dr. Ruth Westheimer, Richard Simmons. Let's see, what's the other one? Benji Gregory from ALF. Joe Bonsall from the Oak Ridge Boys. And, of course, Shannon Doherty, who just recently died. And, of course, the 45th anniversary of the event of the disco demolition that was held at Comiskey Park in Chicago. This podcast will be published later on today, wherever podcasts are available. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Breaker, Overcast. If you have those apps on your phone or your tablet, just tap on those and tap follow. You get the latest episode. You receive a notification. You can listen to the previous episodes. This will be shared on my blog, VanishChicagoland.blog. You can do that, and it'll take you right to it. Also, it will be on my YouTube channel. Again, people still ask me, where's your podcast? Where's your podcast? It's on YouTube, Vanish Chicagoland Stories, the podcast, or you can search my name, click subscribe. There is no charge. You can listen to previous episodes. You will receive a notification for the new episode. Also, be sure to my social media accounts, Facebook, X, LinkedIn, Reddit, Threads, Blue Sky, Instagram, and TikTok. That's a lot. Okay. So this is Pete Costanis, your host for Vanish Chicagoland Stories, the podcast. Thank you for joining me. I know I said a mouthful, and I apologize. It was a long show. I will probably do another show Tuesday, most likely. We'll see. Today's going to be a hot day. I'm planning to go out later on today. We'll see. Hope it cools off. Yesterday was hot, but then it cooled off, and it was nice evening. So, and one last thing, coming up soon, I will talk about the 60th anniversary of the TV show Ray Rayner and Friends, starred Ray Rayner. I will put together a video, a story on my blog, and of course, a podcast episode. That should be fun. So here's bye-bye for me, and of course, here's Ray Rayner saying bye, 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 with a little traveling music. Take care, everyone, and so long.
We have to go. Bye, bye, bye.